Rise and shine, beloved. Great grand rising, great grand rising. Come on in, come on in. Let me know that you're here. Let me just pull this up on Facebook to make sure that we are broadcasting live on Facebook and we're going to be ready to go. Let me turn this volume down and we're going to be ready to go. I apologize for being just a couple of minutes behind. Let me just throw a happy Sunday up here or grand rising. Grand rising, grand afternoon, grand evening, wherever you are tuning in from. We are live. Give me 1 second. Let me grab my hanky. All right, we are here. We're here. All right. Hi, Marcus. Thanks for joining us live. All right, so let's just go ahead and do a quick activation and we're going to jump right in. I'm so thankful that we are here. Hey, Reese, I've been missing you. I guess we've been celebrating on our birthday month, right? All month long. All right, let's connect in, beloved. We got a ways to travel today. Come on, let's take a good healing deep breath in and exhale. And relax. Skin over scalp. Pulling the cheeks and the eyes down, dropping the shoulders down from the ear. Come on, I feel the presence of spirit right here, right now. Turn that focus inward. Breathe and relax. Crown of the head, sole of the feet. One more for the power of 3. Deep breath in. Exhale. And we are here. I want you to know that we are in a powerful, powerful time of transition, of shifting, and some of you may have felt it in your mind and your emotions and your bodies. This month is a big month. And with that beautiful strawberry full moon that we had this week past, a lot of things came up to the surface. We could talk more about that later, but let's just jump in today. I want to talk about something very important, beloved. As we are shifting out of the Piscean age into the Aquarian age, and at some point, I'm going to do a whole teaching on that. I'm going to take us all the way back to the age, from the age of Taurus to the age of Aries, the bull, the ram, the Pisces, and now the Aquarian age. What are you talking about, Dr. E? Even in your sacred text, if it doesn't speak about it, particularly, it speaks about it symbolically. So just for a little future reference, I'm going to float this and move on. This is why when you study Old Testament covenant, and when the age of the ram came in, they got in trouble with Yahweh because they still wanted to worship the bull, the golden calf. But it was time for the ram to come in. So we're going to talk more about what these ages mean, what they represent, and we do not want to be ignorant in this season. I'm ready for a higher level impact, and I know that you're ready for a higher level transformation. Thank you, thank you, thank you. No, never late. I enjoyed my birthday. I did nothing. I watched a movie with my girls, with Deborah and Malay, and I watched Sinners. I had been wanting to watch that. That movie was just chock full of symbolism. It was a message to me. It wasn't even a movie. It was a message. And I have to go back in and watch it again so I could do a lot of the decoding on that. But yeah, so that's what I did for my birthday. I gave myself the gift of a shift. I'm going to get to the notes. Each year I do something special for my birthday. Years ago, I used to do a lot of travel, go on vacation, all of that. I would say probably in the last 5 years, I did less of that. I think the last time I traveled for my birthday was in 21 or 22. But then every now and again, I've been practicing this for many, many years. Some years I would take that day and sow it as a seed. And then there were some days I would take that day and receive a special gift. And this year I received the gift of a shift. A major shift. My birthday happened during that strawberry full moon. I'm not going to get into that. That's for another day, another topic. But in SSL and Mastery, we're going to lay down the foundation for a lot. But what I want to talk about today, as we're shifting into a new age, and you can tell it's a new age, and don't get confused because I'm using the term new age. It's a new season. We're in a new dimension. You can tell that we are because everything is changing. Systems are crumbling faster than we can say systems are crumbling, right? And we're in this beautiful place of transition as the old is going out and the new is coming in. But beloved, you must be a fit for the future. Please put that in your notes. You have to be a fit for this awesome age that is coming in. I think tomorrow in SSL Mastery, I'm going to start laying down that foundation. We're going to be doing a lot about that as you position yourself for leadership in this new age that's here. So today, what I want to talk about is, excuse me, I'm getting excited. I could feel all in my mouth. I could just feel the presence of spirit here today. Thank you. Thank you. I want to talk about the freedom to flow. This is so important to your growth and your development. Freedom to flow, the sacred balance between freedom and discipline, because they're meant to go hand in hand. And I do want to just look at the email I sent. There comes a time in your awakening when old systems of control no longer fit. Now, we've been on this awakening path for a few months, right? A few weeks here. And we're going to just continue to just go deeper into this, right? Reese says, no matter the level of mindset a person is on, everyone agrees that there is that is the truth, Reese. That, there's so much coming up to the surface right now because I know that I'm in a completely different shift. I've been asking to upgrade and up level. I've been feeling this for at least 12 months. And I've been in this dance back and forth with what I'm being called into and releasing where I've been, what no longer works, frameworks, systems, formats. Everything is being overhauled for me as well. And so that is true, Reese. No matter what level of mindset a person is on, everyone is feeling the shift. And they know that they're being asked and given an invitation to come up. So there comes a time on your awakening journey when old systems no longer work. So we've been talking about when your awakening feels like rebellion, right? We talked about how your awakening will cause you to release fear-based systems. It'll call you out of those systems that no longer work, the box that was never meant to house the expansion of your spirit and your soul. Your awakening will start calling you out of that. The awakening will start doing several things on a biological, a biochemistry level in the body. And we want to be astute enough to know and in tune enough to know how to work. So today I want to talk about how when on this awakening path, what to do when systems no longer fit, but questions remain. We're in an awesome, awesome time. One of the things I'm enjoying doing right now is watching all the questions that are being asked as we're shifting out of that Piscean age of overlords and higher architects and architectural structures, not architect, higher, what is the word I want to use? It just left my mind. Hierarchy structures, right? The age of gurus, the age of external rules and do it like this and dump for you formulas. We're leaving out of that age, coming into a more age of individual intuition, individual relationship, uniqueness on another level that we have not seen. All right. So what do you do when these old systems of control no longer fit, but questions remain? Such as, if I release religious control, what will guide me? If I have no covering, am I out of order? Right? For many, the fear of being out of order keeps them bound to systems that were never designed to hold your expression. But what if I told you this, beloved? Listen, freedom and discipline were never meant to oppose each other, right? So when we talk about freedom to flow, freedom to be led, freedom to be divinely guided, it's not opposed to being disciplined, but to exist in a sacred partnership. Freedom and discipline are meant to be in a sacred partnership together. Now, when we look at this and we start looking at, well, what if, I don't have a covering? And what if I don't, if I'm not using the doctrinal interpretation of scripture to govern my life, what's going to guide me? And all the fear begins to come up because you were so trained to believe if you weren't in the house, if you wasn't following all of the rules and all of the disciplines of doctrine, that you were out of order. And I want you to write that in your notes because that's a trigger word. It's a buzzword. I stayed in systems and in practices longer than I should have for that fear alone, not being out of order, especially when you have leadership, you have management, you have administration in your giftings, then you automatically have a propensity to want things to be in order, to follow guidelines, to follow rules, right? So I want to talk about today the difference between indoctrinated obedience, you got to hear this today, and divinely inspired alignment. The difference between indoctrinated obedience and divinely inspired agreements. I've been watching, as I've been enjoying all of these profound questions that are being asked and bringing in, AI to get answers and all of that. I'm watching people do this, and I'm watching such a profoundness be revealed in this season because people are getting free. And if you're free, come on and talk back to me. Tell me that you're free. Tell me, Dr. E, I'm out of the box and I'm destroying the box. I've destroyed the box. And in this season, making this shift into this next era of leadership, I had to go back and make sure I destroyed the box. Meaning now I'm being asked to upgrade. This is why we started Mastery this year. I'm being asked to upgrade and to go into deeper depths of spiritual insight, spiritual intelligence, to help us walk the path that we are here to walk. So now here is what we want to talk about. When you have obedience that's rooted in fear, it only produces suppression. The suppression will turn into oppression. The oppression turns into depression. And that's because that age of just obeying, because it's a rule, because it's a system, and you've never checked with your spirit, never checked with your heart for divine guidance, that day is over. Alignment rooted in love leads to freedom. It leads to liberation. It leads to power. So true spiritual alignment is not about submitting out of terror. It's about rising in truth. And I shared this with you guys before, that how there was a time in my life, I used to say this, you couldn't beat me praying, you couldn't beat me fasting and praying and all of that, right? But I didn't realize that the reason why, watch this, I was so devoted because I was operating out of fear that I would disappoint Yahweh if I missed prayer. Yes, we see I'm free, never been one to comply within the box. Good for you, girl. Good for you. I was one of the good girls. I was going to follow the rules. I was going to dot every I, cross every T. Good for you. All right. But I'm free now. I'm free. All right. So let's go. I'm still looking at the notes here, right? So Submitting out of terror doesn't work, beloved. It creates suppression, oppression, depression, and if you're not careful, you'll get into possession, right? Okay, so now I want to look at this. When you are submitting to indoctrinated obedience, you are still operating on an outside in paradigm, right? You're still looking and gleaning everything from the outside in. And so again, that was a part of the Piscean age. That's over, right? But divinely inspired alignment is internally realized. So one of the hardest things to do as you start shifting, number one, is letting go of doctrine that's a part of your nervous system. I remember years ago, I was always outside of the box, but because I had that good girl syndrome and wanted to follow rules, I made myself adapt to the rules and the indoctrinated obedience that was being asked. From the time I first got saved, I remember I used to wear makeup when I was like 15, 16 years old. Back in the day, our parents didn't even let us wear makeup until we were 16. That was the graduating point, right? So when I got saved around 14, 15, 16, and then I got into Pentecostalism, apostolicism, right? Then it was all of these rules. And I remember, listen, y'all, I remember not feeling that wearing makeup was a sin. I didn't believe that women wear pants was a sin. But what I said is, if I was a part of any society, any group, any club, and they had rules, I would comply to the rules. So I took the makeup off. I came out of the pants because I wanted to comply to the rules. But now watch this. I didn't believe it was sin. But what did I do? I imposed that on myself and adapted to all of the rules, even though I didn't believe there was anything wrong with that. All right. So like I kind of like been outside of the box, but I made myself live by those rules. And that's what we want to correct. We want to correct all the spaces where we've adapted. And like I said, I recognized that all that praying I was doing, a lot of it was motivated. I was afraid that I was going to disappoint God if I missed praying. So how much of that was even in vain? Because it was not even flowing from a place of purity. So let's go. So divinely inspired alignment is internal. It's internally realized. And that's where we want to stay. That pulling all of that stuff out of the nervous system. I remember way back in the day, I'm going back to the 80s. I'm dating myself. And I remember there was some ministers that was friends with my husband, the late Bishop C.W., right? And I remember this one man, this minister, his wife had left him. They were divorced and she remarried. And this man suffered and struggled, believing his wife was coming back to him and he would never remarry because he was indoctrinated with that apostolic doctrine of one wife only, right? So I'm not here to debate that. I'm not even trying to debate that. My whole point in bringing that up is that it was so deeply ingrained in his nervous system and his psyche and his mental health that I'm talking about years, like 20, 25 years living, still saying that she was coming back. She was married, had children, was living her best life, but he was stuck in indoctrinated obedience because that's what he was told. And she never came back and they never married again. All right. So freedom and discipline can coexist. Just because we have freedom to flow doesn't mean that we are not disciplined people. It doesn't mean that we are not consistent people, right? So write this. Let's affirm this today. I choose alignment over obligation. Now that sounds simple, but it's deep and it's powerful, especially when you're motivated to operate out of duty, obligation. I'm supposed to. They will think poorly of me if I don't. Many of us stay in relationships far too long out of obligation, out of duty, right? If you cannot find pure reasons from your heart to be in a relationship, you shouldn't be. You shouldn't be because the bills are getting paid. You shouldn't be just because you're paying bills. You have to really align with your heart and your spirit, all right? So discipline and freedom can coexist, but watch this, here's the caveat. The origin matters. So we're confirming, I choose alignment over obligation. I follow the voice of the Holy Spirit within, the voice of love within, the voice of my God self, my higher self, whatever language works for you. So I want you to answer this question, and it's worth really looking into. Am I following this belief out of fear or out of love? Am I here because I'm afraid I'm going to be out of order, I'm going to miss something, I'm going to do something wrong, or am I here because of love? Am I here because this is what I'm called to? And if you know you're called to something, but you still have no peace, then it's time to make some adjustments, all right? So again, the context or the origin of your obedience is what's important. So in most religious programming, discipline is often presented as external control. Do this or else. Follow the rules or you'll lose favor. Discipline equals obedience to institutional doctrines. Now, I was sharing with someone, and they were expressing with a client, and they were expressing how they still have a need for this external validation, that they're still trying to line up to get the favor of the leadership in the house. They're still denying themselves because they're not in the clique. They're not being accepted in the group, that inner circle that's around leadership. And there's nothing wrong with recognizing that. That's the thing, beloved. Remember, awareness is your key to freedom. So to become aware that, okay, I'm still seeking this external validation. I'm still trying to get the favor of this leader, of this guru, or whatever it is. But an awakened spirituality, and do not let people get you all twisted up about the word spiritual or spirituality, right? We're out of that. We're out of all of that picking and choosing and rebuking and demonizing that comes in the head from a mental. We're out of that, right? So now, awakened spirituality, discipline transforms into sacred devotion. I'm doing this out of a heart of love. I'm doing this because this resonates with me. I'm doing this because I can see it's benefiting my growth and my development, right? I choose this because it aligns with my highest self, the better version of me, my God self, not my shadow self, right? I choose this because it's in alignment and agreement with my God self. I honor this practice because it nourishes my soul. Y'all got to come on and go. Can you see where we're going? Can you see how we're being able to strip away and release everything that we're doing that's interfering with growth, with transformation, with prosperity, with success? We're stripping all of that away. I'm going to say something. I want you to hear this. Part of the reason, and it could be a big part of the reason, we have not prospered to the degree that we know we should is because we still have all these practices and all these things that we are honoring, that we are obligated to, that doesn't serve our higher self. It doesn't serve your God self. It's not serving the best version of yourself. You're stuck in misery. And we want to break that up. Okay, let's go on. Let me finish here. I'm almost done for today. Discipline. Discipline is a structure that supports my freedom, not restricts it. See, because, beloved, the Almighty, the God consciousness, Christ consciousness is all about expansion. It's all about growth. If anything is restricting you, binding you, keeping you small, and it's not expansive, it's not the divine living creator. Because now if you're practicing discipline, it should be something that's supporting your freedom, not restricting it. I remember when I started getting free, I don't know what year this was in. This was probably somewhere in the 90s. I know I started serious personal development in 99. But we went on a vacation to Florida. Two things I did in the 90s is that when I got here to Ohio, I couldn't, the cold was a little different from New York. Even though the temperature was different, I guess we was getting all that wind down from the West Virginia mountains, right? But there was a chill that went through the bones. And I made a decision, I'm going to start wearing pants. All up to that in the 80s and the early 90s, I didn't wear pants. I made a decision, I'm cold. And my bones don't like this cold. I'm going to put pants on. And then I remember when we went to Florida during Thanksgiving on vacation, and it was very hot that day. And I decided I'm going to put some shorts on. Prior to that, I did not wear shorts. But I started making these decisions that did what? Supported freedom and not restricted it. Because now if you go back to when I first came into this thing in 1972, 73, somewhere in there, right? I took the pants off because they said take them off, not because I believed anything was wrong with it. So there's a lot that we're believing. We've talked about this many times, right? So you don't want things that's going to restrict your growth, your development, and your freedom. The origin of the discipline, watch this, the origin of the discipline determines whether it is a prison or it's a portal for more growth and expansion, right? So the origin of me not wearing pants, not wearing makeup, not doing this, not doing that, it came from a fear-based system that said you're going to go to hell. You're going to discipline. Could you imagine going to a place called hell because you wore pants that was designed for a woman? Because if we really be real about it, if you go back in antiquity, no matter how far back you go, men wore skirts. All right. So that's another topic for another day. So let's go just a little bit deeper and I'm done. So fear-based discipline, religious program rooted in fear of punishment or abandonment of God, is motivated by shame, guilt, and external validation, right? It keeps the soul locked in, watch, performance-based identity. It focuses on earning worthiness. This is what we're being asked to let go of, all right? So Reese said, I remember being shocked to see my mother wear pants for the first time when I was in my mid-30s. Right, wasn't that a shock? But do you see how we have been getting free all these years? Thanks for remembering that, Reese. Yes, we getting free, honey. Free from, so free till it just don't make no sense how free I am now, because I do what my spirit guides me to do, and I'm not worried about the rest. So fear-based discipline, religious programming is rooted in fear and punishment of abandonment by God. Remember, I told you I was so devoted to getting up every day, 5 o'clock praying. I can't tell you how many years I traveled in the dark in the dead of winter to go open up the church for 5 o'clock prayer. I'm not saying there was something wrong with that. I'm saying again, the origin of your devotion is what's important. That's what determines if you're in prison or if you're opening divine portals for more transformation and growth, right? So it's rooted in a fear of abandonment of God. It's motivated by shame, by guilt, or external validation. I want to show everybody I'm the good girl. I want to show everybody I can follow the rules. All of that is just not it. It keeps your soul locked in. I want you to write this in your notes. Performance-based identity. In the church, on your job, with your supervisors, with your bosses. And I know all of that is a performance-based system, right? That's why you get a performance review. You'll get a merit increase based on your performance. But in this season, we don't want to be operating on performance-based identity or on earning the ability to be worthy. I'm already worthy. I'm not trying to get worthy. I'm already worthy. All right. Last thing I want to say, love-based discipline on the awakened path is rooted in love, devotion, and alignment with the Holy Spirit or God within. It's motivated by joy, intimacy, and expansion. It supports the embodiment of divine identity, not performance-based identity. It focuses on the expression of worthiness that you've already been given. I'm already worthy simply because I'm here. I'm worthy. Just because you were born, beloved, you are worthy. So look at this, right? Religious discipline is like a bird in a cage that sings because it's told to. A bird trapped in the cage, singing because it's told to. Awakened discipline is like a bird flying free, singing because it's overflowing with life, singing because of joy, right? So that's where we want to be. So discipline and freedom can meet. Freedom is a sacred space to choose your own alignment. Write that down. Freedom is the sacred space to choose your own alignment. Discipline is the continuous devotion to what nourishes your spirit. The union of both allows you to evolve, embody, and expand without fear. It is time to release fear. Come on, y'all, talk back to me. We want to be able to have the freedom to flow. Freedom to flow. We want discipline and freedom to coexist, but we want the origin to be love, to be joy, to be expansion. Beloved, I'm telling you, this month of June is an important month. This is a transition month. It's a crossover month. It's the month of halftime. And there's so much going on cosmologically to help us and support us to shift. So just as I did, I'm going to give this to you. Give yourself the grace, the gift of a shift. We're just going to do this. We're going to have the freedom to flow. All right, beloved, I'm going to release you with many blessings for the rest of your day. Sow seed if you feel inclined to. It will be a blessing and help me do what I do. All right, have a blessed, wonderful, and amazing rest of your day. Bye for now.